I'm going to be very straightforward with this topic. The topic I was given for this speech is that car makers should start employing female dummies for crash testing. This is a topic that it's emotional for me, and I'm going to tell you guys a little story real quick. When I was a little kid, when I was 9 years old, my mom used to work a lot, my dad used to work a lot, so I would stay at my neighbor's house every afternoon after school, after practice. She would pick me up from practice sometimes. My neighbor had a little daughter. We became friends. She was my age. We were just friends. I was 9 years old after all. One day, she was supposed to pick me up from practice, and she never came. She never arrived to practice. She had a car accident. She was hit on the left side, the driver's side, and she died. And my little friend died too. This is something that I couldn't grasp because I was little. My mom never told me even why she died until I was maybe 17 years old. Something to take into consideration: more than half of the world population is female. More than half. There are more females than there are males in the world. And there's basically the exact number of drivers, of male drivers and female drivers. The difference is small. I'm not a feminist, but I cannot understand the discrepancy between the way we treat gender and the way we adapt to gender. Us, as society, we have decided that men are bigger, stronger, faster, but yet we haven't reached a point in which we acknowledge that difference. Female dummies are a polemic issue in the industry of car makers and even in legislation. A little bit in the background of the female dummy issue. In 1989, the first group of car makers tried to get the first female dummy for crash testing. It was just a request from a few car makers that included mostly European car makers, like Renault. This request wasn't granted because, let's say that most boards in the car automaker industry are male-leaded, and 88 Career Exploration, a website that gives you stats on basically professions and careers, indicate that 88% of mechanical engineers are male. With that being said, you have to realize that the car maker industry is a male-driven industry. And even in 1989, when it wasn't granted, they tried to keep petitioning for it and never came. There are obvious biological differences between males and females. Females have more tissue around the waist, their cervical system is different, and they sit closer to the wheel when they drive, because there's a height difference. In 2003, the first female dummy was implemented, and try to guess what was the height of that dummy. Can you give me a height? It was 5'2" and 100 pounds. That was the female dummy. If that does not raise concerns in the classroom, we have a problem as a society. I cannot grasp how a group of mechanical engineers getting paid more than 100K a year do crash testing with a female dummy that is 5'2" and 100 pounds. I don't know if that even represents a 12-year-old child. It's just awful. I think that this went to an extent that there should be people in jail for this. There should be people in jail for this because it is inhumane. There is just no way that this was going to happen without people ending up in jail. If if we had the same amount of deaths related to car accidents, to like let's say the same amount of people that died in car accident in a year die in airplane accidents, we will not tolerate it because that's the image of the disgrace that represents the airplane accident. But car accidents, we are just desensitized by it. For us, it's normal. A study done actually in 2020 by the University of Virginia and the Journal of Traffic Safety, I think it is, the Journal of Traffic Safety, shows that female drivers are 17% more likely to get killed in a traffic accident, even wearing a seatbelt. And that female drivers are 73% more likely to get severely injured in a traffic accident. These numbers are high, and some may argue that there are more traffic accidents that are related to males. But we have to realize that males produce testosterone and females produce estrogen. Estrogen has been linked with the fact that females have a better muscle memory, meaning that the connection or the coordination between their brains and their bodies are better. That's just a fact. Testosterone, on the other hand, has been linked with risky behavior. There's 85 to 90% DUIs related to males. Males do not care. Males will drink a couple beers and drive. That's it. Girls won't do it. They're smarter than us. That's it. The discrepancy. It is a sociological discrepancy, an engineering discrepancy, and a biological discrepancy that just mixes all together and creates a disaster. If I was going to stand here and tell you that vehicles are not safe for women, it will make no shock. For starters, I'm nobody to tell you that vehicles are not safe for one of the genders. Yet I can expect you guys to take the stats into consideration and realize that it is just the fact that we have gotten desensitized by car accidents. All of us have suffered from car accidents at some point of our lives, or a family, a friend, a teammate, someone has suffered from it. It is ignorant that in the year 2020 we're still dealing with this. It is awful. It is total negligence, the fact that the engineering industry and the car maker industry are not taking concrete steps to fix this issue. You might ask yourself, how do we fix this? How can you have a say in changing this issue? Because you have a mom, you have an aunt, you have female teachers that you appreciate. And this is not something that you can just hear my speech and go home and that's it, nice speech. No, this is something that you may have to actually do something about it at this point. The NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, is the branch of the government that it's in charge of making actual adjustments to the car maker industry. They are the regulators in this case. The NTSB has tried to pass legislation on this issue on 3 different occasions, and they haven't been successful. The NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board, has made European car makers in the United States, so let's say Renault has a fabric in California, they must employ female dummies. Yet they haven't been able to force American car makers to do it, because American car makers are protected by law, by the American law. European car makers have to abide to whatever they're being forced into, because this is not their country. That's it. Is it that Americans don't care about Americans? No, that's not the way it is. It's just that the industry has such a male-leaded general board that there is no way that the old guard is going to change the way they do their stuff. Plus, it's money. It's money to change the way they do stuff. It's money to change the dummies. It's money. Even the American car makers like Ford that are actually employing female dummies are still employing the 5'2" and 100 pounds dummies. And they just use the female dummies for side crash testing, not frontal crash testing, which is just another proof of negligence. So yes, I am not a feminist. I am not an expert, but I can tell you that there is an undeniable truth in the statistics that I provided today. Maybe if in 1999 it would have been more of a logical issue, because this is really just logic. If you have females averaging 5'5" and I don't know 150 pounds, I'm just going on a limb, I don't know. You really want to be as accurate as possible, because this is the people's lives at stake. So I believe that historically this was a proof of negligence, and this is something that we must act on immediately as a society in order to change our perceptions and in order to make actual concrete steps towards fixing this issue.